welcome back to another episode of Talking Bollocks. It's me, Howard H. Smith. Yeah, I am back. And so is Talking Bollocks, and so are you. Hey, hi there. Nice to have you back. If this is your first time, where have you been? Podcast is over 10 years old. Yeah, I know. Internet's a big place, isn't it? And let's face it, there's a fucking podcast for everything now, isn't there? Oh, yeah. He's doing a podcast about ants and their effect on window ledges in the northeast of England. It's a fascinating podcast. I really enjoy it. I thoroughly recommend it. Or, of course, one of the 1 billion true crime podcasts. Eh? Fucking hell. Anyway, now we get movies about podcasts, don't we? You know, like Netflix. Oh, yeah, the movie of the podcast. Jesus. Well, if it was a movie of this podcast, it would mostly be called Listen to This Cunt. So, hello, welcome back. I do this. Front Acid Rain, UK thrash band, do the Motorcast, the official Motorhead podcast, do the Reducer football podcast. Also, you can get more content at patreon.com/Howard H. Smith. Thank you to all of you who sign up and continue to support this show. Brilliant. Because 99% of the people listening now, in fact, more than that, and that's you I'm talking to, yeah, do fuck all to help out. But it's that less than 1% that make all the difference and keep this shit rolling. So if you're one of the 99.9%, yeah, maybe have a think about that. I don't know, maybe sign up to Patreon for 1 month and then piss off. That'd help, just 1 month. That would be cool. No worries. But also, I do get it. You've got important stuff to spend your money on, right? You've got, bills to pay, haven't we all? Some of you will have children to put through an education. Some of you will have divorces to pay for. Fucking hell. It's all gone wrong already, hasn't it? Some of you will have a massive drug habit to feed. Look, let's not get into you and what you spend your money on, because that's entirely up to you, all right? That's cool. But for the price of, I don't know, a few apples a month, you can, because that's as relative as a coffee a month, isn't it? You could maybe, whatever, don't worry about it. There's a link in the description of the podcast that probably says, "Oi, give me your fucking money." Click on that and then do that, yeah? Cool. So, what's been going on in the world of metal? Well, I've got to, first up, I did a guest spot with Inquire Within, the band on last podcast. Yep, I did a guest spot with them, which was fun. But unfortunately, pulled my calf muscle and was not able to meet up with Four Stroke Baron the following day, which is really fucking shit. Any of you who've been following the Four Stroke Baron story through old Bollocks, I was really looking forward to that, but instead I had my leg up and being iced every 20 minutes all day. And yes, it has. Yes, it still hurts. No, it's not recovered yet. So, I don't know. Bummer. Real bummer. Anyway, let's crack on, shall we? Let's have a look. And there's not a massive amount of news. And, of course, as always, none of it is really news. But I couldn't resist this particular story. Stryper's Robert Sweet, the Holy Spirit gave us the courage to go and do this. Really. Just imagine all the bands doing it without the Holy Spirit, who just fucking get on with it. I don't know, like My Good Self, and like pretty much any band who don't spend all their time in church. I wouldn't say it's harder. It's something we do anyway. We've always done that because we truly believe it. But at the same time, I'll be honest with you, it's always been hard because it made the road really tough for us when we first came out. And a matter of fact, we've had people come up and say, "Man, if you guys didn't have the Christian thing going on, you would have probably had 10 times the success. Because you're a band that everyone loves, but everyone doesn't understand the Christian thing." So I think in certain ways, it's kind of hurt us, but it was worth it for us because we believe in Jesus. Well, isn't that brilliant? So Scott Stapp, apparently, of Creed, God's all over that band. God's making their comeback fucking even bigger than it was before. They had platinum records with their God bothering. But apparently Stryper, God is not omnipresent. apparently, what I'm getting from this is God doesn't like he prefers Creed. That's what I'm getting from this, okay? Or she, whether God's a fucking, or an it, or a them, couldn't give a fuck, doesn't exist, but anyway, yeah, what can I say? Hard luck, Stryper. Oh dear. Hey, being a Christian's held you back now, has it? Right, okay, probably go and have a word with Creed, and have a chat about their platinum albums, yeah? Dear me. Shinedown's Brent Smith, I've seen songs cure cancer. Now, if there was ever a clickbait headline, that's it. But of course, there's no need to click on that article, is there? Because you just say in your head, no, you haven't, and move on. Anyone who's had cancer, who's had a close relative with cancer, I have, very recently. And you know what? Songs didn't cure them. No, a fucking operation and the application of medical science, that got them out of cancer, not sticking some albums on, I've got to tell you, though, that that's something that, especially in the last few years, I've noticed it more. Like, music is a powerful thing. Yes, it is, but it's emotionally powerful. It doesn't cure anything. And especially when you're talking about songs, but exactly what you said, I've seen songs cure cancer. It's pretty powerful. There's just a different level inside of that because we're all connected to one another. What the fuck are you talking about, you absolute fucking dickhead? Jesus Christ. Just absolute bollocks, basically. The whole idea of rock and roll as a genre is one aspect, but rock and roll really is a spirit. It's more a way of life for people. I've said this a few times, but in that community, it's not necessarily about a genre. It's about a community, so you're saying the same thing again. Yeah, okay. I remember when NWA got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Ice Cube went straight to the mic and was like, rock and roll is a spirit, and we're honoured to be here. It's that inclusivity and not having any, there should be no barriers or boundaries when it comes to music. Yep, I totally agree, mate, but that's not curing cancer, is it? By the way, a little bit of shout out to a previous story. Apocalyptica plays Metallica Volume 2, featuring two members of Metallica. Can't really get my head around that, right? The 9-minute version of Apocalyptica Plays One My Metallica is available on YouTube. I suggest you either do or don't go and listen to that. James has done a new vocal for it. It's more a spoken vocal for this new 9-minute version. And, I don't know, let's just say I didn't love it. And that's being kind. Next up, Kerry King. Never in a million years did I want to call my new band Kerry King. Fair enough. It was interesting. He said, talking about being on stage with guys that he'd never been on stage before with, because he's always been on stage with the same guys, and also it's always been 3 out front, not 4 out front. Yeah, weird, right? And on the decision to name the band Kerry King, he said, I hate it. Every time I came up with a possible band name, it would get all the way to the trademark. Attorneys would go, yeah, you don't want to do this. And I'd be like, why? Can't we buy it if it's just a little tiny company or something? And a couple of times, it just had too many uses. And I said, well, it came to announce those American festivals, and we had to go with something. So we went with my name. Never in a million years did I want to do, but there you are. Pressed to reveal more, he said, well, the earliest one, the internet was right. The earliest one was Blood Rain. The next one was King's Reign, which I would have been okay with. And the band loved it because I kept trying to say, I don't want to use my name. I don't want to use my name because I'm not a vain dude. I'm not like that. And that one got blown out of the water too. It's extremely difficult to come up with a good name these days. I'm still trying. Fair enough. Bit of honesty there. I believe him. Apparently he wants to get another album out quickly. Must say, that Kerry King album, it's growing on me when I remember to listen to it. I couldn't resist this. Could you? Really? Paul Stanley names his favourite thing about Gene Simmons. Yeah? I know. You've got to click on that, haven't you? Because you just want him to say nothing. But, instead it says, we text almost every day. We check in with each other. How's the family? And it's great. It really is. I consider his kids like my kids, and watching what they do is really incredible. And Shannon, Jean's wife, she's like my sister-in-law. Asked what he thinks about his dynamic between Gene that endures 5 decades. I think prioritising, certainly for me, the band has always been the most important thing. Look, I'm not always going to be a picnic to be around, and he's had to put up with me at times. But the thing is, I've always been that's always been our priority is Kiss. And I think over the years, whatever issues we've had with each other, there was never something that was going to be ultimately compromised. And look, family members fight. But they're family, and Gene and I have never been closer than we are now, because I've said it before, it's like we have nothing to bicker about. We won. That is pretty damn fucking cool, isn't it? That really is. So basically, I guess what he's saying is, his favourite thing about Gene is he's Gene, He's all right. He's cool. They get on. Bit of an anticlimax, that, really, isn't it? You really want me to fucking lean into it and have a right old pop, but you've got to respect that 50 years. I mean, look, I've said this a lot recently. I can listen to stuff and think it's utter shit and not like it, but by the same token, I'm not going to say that that's shit when it's clearly not. There's clearly some validity to it. It's just that I don't get it. And yeah, I really don't get Kiss. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Piss weak radio rock at best. A sheep in wolf's clothing, without a doubt. But look at the bands they inspired. Look at how long they've endured. And, I have to respect that. I don't respect they did a disco album. They can go fuck themselves. But, yeah, grudgingly, I have to respect that. Also, grudgingly, is this the community that we now are? Is this the kind of news that we now post? Corrosion of conformity and Downs Pepper Keenan mourns death of father. Well, do you know what? I'm sick of this story of musicians. They'll post on their social media. They don't put out a press release. And it's usually a heartfelt, goodbye dad, but goodbye mum, whatever it is. And, we'd like some privacy at this time. And then that gets ripped off social media and made up into a news story that ends with, we'd like some privacy. We'd like some privacy. Maybe don't turn this into a fucking news story and put it all over your website, you pack of cunts. Eh? But no, that just turns out that was not possible. Bit of a shame that, really, eh? So anyway, that's it with the news. Yeah, not much today. But what you have got is some music. Yeah, that's right. You've got some music. Because, as you already know, the guest on this show is Ezekiel Ox, Zeke, from the legendary band Mammal. They've got their first album out in years. It's called The Penny Drop. We're going to be talking all about it. But before we get into the interview, why don't we have a little bit of Mammal? And this is Hit Me from the new album, The Penny Drop.
One solution. One solution. One solution. Revolution. You're just pathetic, my evil twin. That nagging headache, that's settling in. Too busy losing, burying shame.
because we've had so much fun in London. Um, we've sold out 3 shows there,
Yeah.
which is unbelievable for a band from Melbourne. We just look so fondly upon the city and its canals and its lock system, which I didn't know about until I went there for the first time, which was pretty cool.
Well, I actually live about half a mile from a place called Six Locks, and it's self-explanatory name.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's awesome. Well, yeah, it used to be the main. I live near the Grand Union Canal, which is the canal that used to connect to Birmingham, which is where all the Peaky Blinders shit is based and stuff.
Yes.
So
There's a little bit of
um,
trade unions in the Peaky Blinders, isn't there?
yeah, yeah. Oh, it's very yeah,
Yeah,
it's very
I don't mind a trade union. I don't mind a bit of Woody Guthrie, a little bit of Rage Against the Machine, a little bit of P-Funk. I don't mind a bit of, workers' solidarity within my rock and roll.
Yeah, no, I noticed. I noticed. Well, look, my history with Mammal. Well, first of all, hello. I'm Howard. I do the Talking Bollocks podcast. I sing in Acid Rain and have done since 1988, 85, I think. Um, like you, I took a break from the
You
band.
sorry, I was born in 1980, so that means that you look younger than you are because I'm 44.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm
You
53.
must be
Sorry, shit, I'm 54. I was 54 yesterday.
okay. So you got a decade on me, Howard.
Ah, right. Okay. Cool. Cool. Oh, well, it just gets better, mate.
What's a decade between friends, though?
Yeah,
Really?
exactly. It's like 10 minutes, right? Um, so yeah, I've done stand-up comedy for 20 years. Acid Rain's a thrash metal band, and my history with Mammal goes back to first album.
That's actually one
It,
of the rarer copies. We've got new artwork for that now. So
right. Well,
that is of course just to catch your listeners up, Howard. That is of course to anyone who's not familiar. That is
yes.
Volume 1, The Oral Underground, which is we had the idea. We were sitting around. We'd done an EP, a studio EP called just Mammal, it was self-titled, and it had gone really well. And then we came up with the idea. Well, MC5 and Iggy and the Stooges all uh, debuted live. And so we thought, why don't we debut live? So we've
Yeah.
had 2 live albums now, but that was our first. And that copy you have with that white artwork, that is actually that we only printed like 300 of those. But we ended up selling like thousands of them because we got this new artwork. You can go to our website and
Right. Okay. Well,
let's do it now.
regular
Let's
listeners,
go to our
I've only been doing this 10 years, so regular listeners are used to guests being more professional than me. Um, and
sorry.
but, no,
Sorry.
no, no,
I
no,
want to
mate.
take over.
No, no, dude, this is your interview, your band, your I also have a copy of your autograph here on the live
That's the
CD.
second one. That's the second album. So that just goes on. So,
CD and
obviously
DVD, I might add.
yes, which is worth a look. Yeah,
Very
look,
much so.
I mean, your listeners and your base are probably going to be in the UK, but just so you know, like
Mm.
you met people, Scotsmen and Brits have all accepted us with wide open arms since around 2009, and so we've
Yeah.
had a lot of success in the UK. We're on Scuzz TV, rest in
Yes, a
peace,
lot.
and we were also played on a couple of the BBC Fours or whatever it is. I don't know. We had some
Yeah.
radio play, and currently radio is very interested in our new album, which is the Penny Drop. So we're just trying to back up what we're doing in London and in the
Well,
UK. We're trying to expand to Ireland. So I'm sorry if this has been a bit chaotic.
no. Look, I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing you again. I think I was at your last show in the UK, which was the London show. You had to miss a couple of shows because your voice went. I know that feeling. Um, so yeah, I was at that last London show, and I was really looking forward to you guys coming back and doing a full UK tour, supporting. Oh, was it
The
the
answer.
answer? Yeah.
Yes.
And then the terrible news broke that there was no more Mammal.
So I guess the question is what happened?
Oh, we're going right back. We're going right back to the old school days, mate. I'm not even going to get started on that.
Oh my God. You are deeply you're like old school spelt like Limp Bizkit with a K in the school.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. It's those 10
yeah,
years,
like
mate.
That's awesome. That's so cool to see that EP. White Arrows, Black Arrows, sorry, that's got Crush and Feel It on it. So yeah, Mammal just didn't have at the time we just couldn't cope. We just couldn't cope with
Yeah,
the pressure. Like, and I don't mean this. It's not a complaint. It's not a whinge. But being on the road is hard work, and
yeah,
we struggled with 5 shows a week for 3 years. And we had a mission, and then we ended up fighting each other because we're trying to fight, obviously, the billionaires, and we're trying to fight the war machine, and we're trying to fight, for workers' rights. We're trying to fight for human rights. That's what Mammal does. That's what it's always done. Good rock and roll is political, in our view, and Mammal is certainly that kind of rock and roll. So I think it was combustible, and I'd like to look at bands like The Clash and Rage Against the Machine, which similarly combustible. And I just encourage people to get back on. Refused as well. Refused took a massive hiatus.
yeah,
Super political, super anti-capitalist band, just like Mammal. So we see ourselves in a tradition, that goes from, Lead Belly all the way through to Aretha Franklin, all the way through to Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, pushing up into NWA, and then moving on to Public Enemy, and then Rage, and Soundgarden is our tradition. And all you've got is anthropologically is just music. And that's
yeah,
what this album is about, the penny drop,
yeah.
our new music.
Yeah, and but we're like leaping. Well, let's not leap forward. So I recognize the experience. You can be. I mean, Acid Rain the first time round for me, we were all school friends. We all went to school together, but we ended up tearing ourselves apart. And that's it's tough. It's tough doing a lot of shows, living in each other's company, living with each other. It's really hard. Um,
Me and Pete, the guitar player from Mammal, met at high school at a youth camp because he was from country Victoria. There's a place called Victoria in Australia, which is like southeast. Um, I assume, so for people from the UK that don't know the geography of Australia, obviously we're a Commonwealth nation. We voted no for a republic. So we apparently we bow to our queen, or our king now,
yeah,
King Charles the Third. Oh, sorry, the third. Sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, it's a funny misspeech. So yeah, but I feel like those memories of how you discover music, for me, it was like Far Beyond Driven, King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime, Metallica's Black Album, and then going backwards from that to Puppets and Ride the Lightning.
yeah,
And also, a lot of hip hop too, like a lot of even Vanilla Ice. Like I listened to Vanilla Ice. So for me, as someone who's fair skinned, it was always exciting as a 12-year-old to go, oh, you can rap a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Lucky I never met Suge Knight. But anyway, so I think your formative years in high school are important. And they certainly inform the new Mammal album, Penny Drop, because it sounds very 90s, I think. Slings and Arrows is kind of
Yeah.
Chris. Doubt is more your Linkin Park type production. It's got all sorts of moves on it, but it is a very 90s record.
Yeah, Slings Now is reminding me of something that might have been on the Majority, actually. It
It's kind of
kind
like
of
Bending Rules. It's kind of like Bending Rules.
yeah,
A big melodic chorus that comes out of a more down verse.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Um, and in the intervening years, you also had kind of like a solo gig. I mean, don't worry, we're going to catch up and we're going to talk all about the new album. But you also had Overreactor, which was
Yeah,
which
that's
was a
not
really cool.
solo. That's with Corey.
Right.
So I've got four projects. So Mammal,
Yeah.
uh, Overreactor, which is with a guy called Corey Blight, who's an amazing artist, works out of sort of northern New South Wales, which is another part of Australia that's kind of central east. And then I've got a band called Full Scale, which obviously you waved the EP around before, so
Yeah.
you're familiar with. And the other three guys are based in Perth, which is southwest Australia, and we all know how big Australia is.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in the middle And then we've got my solo band, which is with Glenn from the Butterfly Effect and Dane from Osaka Punch and Dave Blues from Self is a Seed, which is kind of in flux. It's just more like a thing that I can always go back to. So yeah, I've tried to stay active and I've tried to stay relevant as an artist. And
Yeah.
I really believe in the transformative power of rock and roll. And when I say that, I mean, I think like I see the way it transforms spaces when people put on a show and they play their hearts out. People get very excited and the whole vibration changes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big Bob Marley fan. I'm a big Joan Armatrading fan. I'm a big James Taylor fan. I'm a big fan of the vibe. You know, like if it feels good, then I'm there for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. I mean, your love of music and the band's love of music is something that comes through really loud and clear on the new album. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's that um reaffirming that love for music, that Mammal's back. And despite the fact it's been a long time since there was an album, obviously there's been some singles prior to that. But you're back and seems to be
It's
firing
interesting.
on all cylinders.
Yeah, and yeah, to go back to what you said about the singles prior to the penny drop, that was
Mm,
an interesting time because we did 3 singles with Nick, then we did 2 with Cade, and then we felt like we could improve that, so we were ready to go for the album. But there was a change in personnel um, early on in this process, and it was dicey for me and mainly for me and Pete and Zane because we needed to pull it together. We can't
yeah.
ask Cade to lead, but then Cade's performance on the new record is absolutely sensational. So
Yeah.
we are
So what was the score with Nick?
well, Nick just said he didn't want to do it anymore. I mean, it's
Fair
more
enough.
complex than that. I think if you
Yeah.
want to know how it feels to lose a brother or a sister or just another person and to have them challenge you and for you to challenge them, I think listen to the song Maybe from Penny Drop because that song is about Nick leaving the band.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's sort of, I mean, it's pretty dark, that song, but it was a dark time. But I mean, yeah, we are forever in Nick Adams' debt. He is and was he was for Mammal a sensational bass player. He is a sensational bass player, and we just look forward to whatever he puts out next. And we're just so stoked with how it's turned out for Mammal. But
Yeah.
Nick made his decision, and we accept that decision. We've moved on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been through similar, and it's hard to explain if you haven't been in a band exactly how it feels because it's weird because you grieve somebody who's still around. It's
It's
it's a
like a
it's
it's
a
like
real
it's like a breakup though. Like
yeah,
if you think about
yeah,
band, if you look at like marriage counseling, they'll think about money. Um, they'll think about communication, and they'll think about sex. How are those things going in the relationship? If you and your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whichever way you swing, Mammal's cool with all that. Don't worry about that. We're not interested in your genitals, folks. We're interested in how hard you go in the pit. But if once you choose those people, it all becomes kind of apparent, all that stuff. I don't quite know where I was going with that, but
Well,
have
I've
we talked
always
about?
I've always kind of related to the fact that yeah, and I agree, and I've always thought of like the playing live, that's the sex, and
That's
sometimes
what I was getting at, the marriage counseling.
right,
So the
right,
band, you have the money, and
yeah,
then you also have the communication at rehearsals and when you're producing the album, and then there's the sex of the intimate, interpersonal, romantic relationship is replaced by the music, whether it's in the studio or on stage. That's when you're making love.
yeah,
And that's what I was getting at. Thank you for getting, we got back there quite quickly,
we,
considering how
we
lost I
did.
was.
Well, look, but the thing is for me as well is that let's go with the analogy, right? It's rarely the sex that goes wrong. It's like it's everything else in a band. It's like usually for me, it's always been no, like everything's fine in the bedroom on stage. It's the other fucking 23 and a half, 23 hours of the day that,
And I think it's gotten harder. I think since I started in 2001 to 2000 with Full Scale Deflection, Full Scale, all the way up to 2006, which was then Mammal, and then 2010 onwards was Overreactor, as we mentioned. What's happened is there's been a shift, which is people don't buy the CD. So you're getting like
oh yeah, yeah.
0.00006 cents. And then Mammal's managed to maintain a live reputation so we can still make money because we can still play live.
Yeah.
But it's so hard. I can't imagine how hard it is because, your options to fund what should be an important pursuit, which is art, craft, music, whatever it is. Like art should be funded, and we're moving away from that. So I think it's gotten harder in the last 20 years for me as an artist.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what it would be like staring down the barrel of it as an 18-year-old right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm in a band that has a rep that goes back to, 88, which is great. We've got a recognizable logo, we've got a back catalog, we've got, an established fan base. And I look at, what kids do now, and it's just, I mean, for a start, you're growing up in public. I mean, it's like if you record your first song, you put it out, and everyone slates it, and it's like Christ. We worked for 3 years before anybody heard anything we did. So we had 3 years worth of songwriting craft before we released anything. Whereas, guys getting together now, it's straight away.
Yeah, we always found there's more people in the UK. So as an Australian who has 26, 27 million people to sell to, you've got more people. And then continental Europe has even more. So we're very focused on continuing to grow in those markets because we think that what we show people is a really strong show. We were probably lucky, and you were too, saying that you had a band in 88. I was 8. So you're that decade ahead. You were 18. Yeah. But we're probably lucky to have grown up when we were still taping songs off the radio, and we were still sharing mixtapes, and we were still using cassette 4-tracks, I remember.
Yeah.
And now I'm across the digital, the digital workspaces as well now, but is it as good? Probably. It's better. Depends how much time you've got. It's very complicated. But yeah. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, this is good. The internet, we can talk between places.
It is true. There have been so many changes, and the fact that you're a band. Wouldn't it be great if you get like an arts grant, to like fund your band? But bands are still seen as a revenue generator more than they are like art. Like everyone thinks, oh, you're in a band. Oh, right, okay. So you're well off.
Just to hopefully be informative to your audience, which is probably in the UK. Like, I don't know what's happened in the UK, but Australian arts funding was at much higher levels for a long time, probably from about the mid 70s until the mid 90s. And then we had a shift to, what was similar to, well, it was kind of our version of Thatcherism. It was our version of Reaganism. It took us we're always a bit late, Australia, we're the colony. But we celebrated the night Thatcher died in Australia. We danced, it was a good night for us. And obviously it was a good night for all working people. And so, I just think that, there has been higher arts funding in Australia. We should always, I agree with you, struggle for more arts funding. But I also thought what you said was interesting about the commodification of what is anthropological. So if you think about painting on a wall, or cooking food, or setting a fire, catching rain from the sky, dancing, singing, hitting things with pieces of other wood to create rhythms. If you look at those behaviors around the world, 8.5 billion people have been doing it, whatever your culture is, whether you live in Turkey or fucking you live in Turkey or Mumbai or Toronto, Canada, or Toronto 20 minutes up the road from here, Toronto, New South Wales, Australia. So I think that that's the first track of the Penny Drop, the album that has brought us together today. Is around the world. It's this kind of
Yeah.
trying to bathe everyone with our empathy, because if you think about, like, what do people want around the world? They want the war to stop. They want their children to have a full belly, a school to go to. They want, a roof over their head, and they want a good night, couple of nights a week. Weekends good. Most people are pretty happy, but they're just not getting that. A lot of them are getting bombs dropped on them. A lot of them are not having to work 7 days a week because of gig economy stuff. And that's
Yeah.
what Mammal's new record is about. It's about the working class. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, my sister always says that, because she's up in Port Douglas, and she says, like, we're usually 6 months behind you guys. So it's like, invariably it's about right.
Is weed legal where you are yet?
No, definitely not.
That's a shame, because I mean, if it was legal there, then I'd think, well, shit, in 6 months we should be okay
Yeah,
where I am.
I,
So your
I,
sister's
I,
theory, as nice as your sister's theory is, it doesn't help us right now.
yeah, no, I totally agree, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, because we're too much of a moralistic nation.
I think, but I mean, I think we've seen, just to be realistic about it, the places that it's been legalized in the States, where it has been basically completely legalized, we are seeing a slight uptick in fatalities on the road, and this is something we should be concerned about. But I don't think that criminalization leads to better public policy. I think that people being educated about their responsibilities on the road. So you get an Uber if you're drunk, you get an Uber if you're stoned. I think that is the messaging. So you treat people like functional people that want to do the right thing, and we will. But what we need is less cops, more education. Yeah.
Yeah, again, I couldn't agree more. But as I said, I just think it's
let's go.
it's a
Revolution. Let's go.
yeah.
Let's get
Well, look, it's hands across the ocean and all that. It's
we're the Commonwealth, or as the black fellas in Australia call it, the stolen wealth.
So look, you've got a new album out, first for years. Is there, I presume you're looking out, getting on the road at home. Are you looking at getting on the road and getting out around the world?
Yeah. Yes and yes. So Australia will get it first, naturally, and that gives us an opportunity to keep planning. We've just recently been added to a whole lot of radio stations. I know that we're talking, but that's because people are starting to talk about it more, because we've made moves to try and tell more people. Is probably the best way to put it. We're actively trying to sell this record, which is the Penny Drop, which is just, we had 30 tracks, and we got that down to 17 tracks, and you get 12 on the record. You can go to our it's Mammal, it's mammalltheband.com, and then you can go to our shop and you can still buy the vinyl, the CD. There's a Rock and Roll is a Human Right t-shirt, just going back to the anthropology thing that I was talking about before. And just now is the time to get around Mammal, because it's back, it's feeling good. And it's been since 2017 we came back, and we're starting to build momentum, because COVID was tough.
Yeah.
Obviously we couldn't travel.
You dropped new music like right after COVID. It was like almost as soon as things, started easing up a bit.
Yes. Yeah, and we went on tour in Australia, but we just can't wait to get back over there to continental Europe.
I remember cycling.
I'd like a French waiter to be rude to me, so I can get the full experience.
Yeah, well, you haven't got a choice about that if you're in France.
Because Australia helped the French out in World War II, so they can't really say anything back. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, ultimately it's only worse if you try and speak French. It's like, no, please don't ruin my language.
Parlez-vous français? Parlez-vous français?
Yeah.
Parlez-vous français?
Bonjour. Well, So are you trying to sell? Are you trying to sell the record? Are you trying to get label support? And then how are you doing it? You getting label support, then looking for a live
Well,
agent, management, etc.
yeah, I mean, we've all been going in different projects, and then since Mammal since 2006, we've been going with this for a while. We're pretty confident with the product,
Yeah,
and we're just
should be.
trying. Yeah, I agree. And so, and I have, all sorts of different feelings about different releases and how they go. But this one's been super positive, and the punters are loving it. The media are getting on board. I think I just bumped my microphone. I'm so excited. And so we've got. So Zane was in a band with a guy called Tibor. The band was called Jika, and Tibor is now living in Europe. So we're sort of connecting with Tibor, just with old
Right.
friends. And then we've got Judith, our publicist, who we're getting to put us on radio, and we're sort of just working. It's more of a professional relationship. And Judith's been amazing. Shout out to Judith if she's watching. Thanks for all the opportunities that you've been getting us. And so we're sort of playing it by ear, knowing that we've got the history of, people like yourself having seen us in packed out shows in London, which is good for an Australian band. It's hard. And we plan on staying hard. How's Agree
Yeah.
to Disagree? We've got a new film clip. We've got a new film clip. This is an exclusive announcement for your podcast.
Oh,
Mammal
good.
will be releasing a live film clip of Agree to Disagree from the new album, The Penny Drop, which is available everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, wherever you get your music. Bandcamp, if you want to buy it. It's a live clip which has backstage footage, and can't wait for everyone to see it. And that's going to be released that's an exclusive UK European release, because we already released 2 tracks in Australia. So we're sort of giving the UK some exclusives now.
That's cool.
Keep everyone
And
happy.
that's cool, and that's also an awesome track as well.
Yes, I think it's the most aggressive Mammal track of all time.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And the Brits don't mind a C-bomb.
oh God, no. And
Yeah, it's got that
by the
C-bomb.
way, from
Can
one
I just say, sorry,
lyricist
no,
to
you go.
another, that line, I'm gonna steal it. I'm just telling you now, okay?
Well,
I
it's
am.
funny because we had to fight for it. Like it
Wow.
ended up being a vote in the band. We argued for an hour because there was some forces in the band that we ended up pulling some swear words from the album, but some stayed. It was an interesting conversation because when I first attacked the album in freestyle, it was just so guttural and
Yeah.
just profane. I was going for like a sort of Immortal Technique, NWA, just shotgun blast of just brutal sort of anarchist, politics. And it went well. It was a good couple of days. But then as we refined them and distilled them, we had to have a massive argument over that. So I love the fact that you love it. It validates my view on it. And I mean, no shade to anyone in the band, I'm not going to name names, who didn't want it in, but it was a good argument. And that's Mammal's a democracy. We are a band that works on a voting system. So you just got to
Yeah.
fight it out sometimes. That's
Well,
why we broke up.
I'm glad you won, because I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's good. Drop the C-bomb. See you next
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, or Thursday. It works both ways.
It works both ways.
Both ways, yeah. Pick your day of the week. But it's great to see that that you're being so productive, and that I'm getting emails from Bandcamp all the time, and also it was I had to make a statement about the album as a long time admirer, as you know. When I'll be honest, my first listen to the album, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Second listen to the album, I was like, I like this. Third time I listened to the album, which, by the way, was immediately after the second time I listened to the album, I was like, yeah, this is fucking great. I think it took me like by surprise. It was kind of like sort of tuning in. You were saying about that sort of that mid-90s sound. It wasn't what I expected. And I think
Also, it's a lot for the punter, because you had to take, like, we got to live all of the ups and downs of Mammal. We were just silent on social media. So if you've connected to the music in, like, say 2010 or something, and then we're not doing anything for 7 years, and then we come back after all these years, 15 years since the last record, like Smash the Vineyard, The Majority, Bending Rules. And I think it's fair that the punters would take a while to sort of break through some membrane of nostalgia yet expectation, I think.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Yeah, in the end, we just couldn't think about it when we were making it. I think we modernized the production in the right way. But it was also kind of came together quickly over a long time. So the amount of time spent on it wasn't much, but we waited and we had plenty of time to listen to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm so stoked.
You've hit on
I'm
something
so
there. You've hit on something there. That it was
yeah,
the production that threw me. I think it was the production
yes.
that threw me, not the songs. And it took literally it
Well,
took my ears like one play to go, right, okay, now I know what I'm dealing with. And after that, I was like, yeah, love it.
I don't know how to articulate it, but probably like the most like evidence-based way to articulate the differences in processes between the majority and the penny drop is to say that, Eric Sarafin produced, who'd done, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, and Ben Harper produced the majority. So it does sound a little more open and rootsy.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Marutis, who's done, You Am I, Living End, some of Australia's biggest rock bands, this band called the Avalanches, he was engineer for them. And then we got Forrester to mix it. He's done Carnival and done, Helmet, and he's an old friend of mine from uni. So it all just worked out really nicely. But we made sure that it was getting checked along the way. Whereas I think the first album was done to more, it is what it is fashion. And I love the Black Crows, and Mammal reserves the right to change our process as we record to create whatever feels good to us whenever it feels good, because we don't want to put out music that doesn't feel good for us, because then it's just going to sound bad for you.
No, I agree. And also the other thing to remember in that process as well is that like you said, 15 years between albums. A lot's happened in the music business since then. And you have to take that on board, and you have to create an album now that is going to sound good streamed and on earbuds. And, back in the day, you'd be making a album that sounds rich, that has depth, and that, it's times
I mean,
change.
it's also not yeah, and times have changed, but also if you're going to be independent like we are, we have no label. We've got booking agents in Europe and in Australia. That's cool because we're a live band, so always have the agent sorted. But we contacted Joel Rieger, the guy that did the awesome artwork, and we just messaged him on Instagram and said, "Can we license your work?" And he said yes. So we're doing everything internal contracts. I'm a lawyer. Pete runs a farm. Zane's an electrician. Cade's a construction worker. Like we all know what hard work is, and we all know what a contract is. So, when you're doing it independently, then you have to be the A&R. You have to write the singles so that people listen to them. You have to think about what Elton John did. You have to think about what Patti Smith did. You have to think about what the Pistols did, and you have to absorb it all and see where you're at. And it's your job to serve up the new tracks in a way that people are going to get excited about. And that's you don't want to complain and go, "Oh no, I've got to write another album. I've got to go on tour again. Oh, what a fucking nightmare." I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we do this. But you must. I'm amazed that you had so many tracks and you refined it down. Are you looking to do anything with the leftover tracks, or did they not make it for a reason, or is there other stuff? Is there an EP down the way?
Yeah, there is sitting there. But it would probably be there's nothing planned for it at the moment, but there are, out of the 30 tracks, there was 17 that were written, and then we produced 12. So there's five.
Yeah.
There's five that we could just spend 2 days in the studio and they'd be fully realized. So I think Pete's mentioned that. There's a song called No King, which we love. And that's my main one that I remember. But I've also got another 32 tracks sitting in my Dropbox, which Pete and Zane have already written, which weren't done for the last album. So I think in a way they're more recent. They haven't been plowed. So I'm going to look to that. And we're going to start writing the next album in mid-August. I'll be flying to Melbourne from where I live in a place called Lake Macquarie in New South Wales, which is 1,600 kilometers away from Melbourne. So I'll be flying down, and then I'll just freestyle like I did for the last album, and have a few beers, have a bit of a smoke, and have some fun with the guys, get some friends in, as we did with Fresh Violet on this new album, and we'll just keep responding to the constant degradation that we're faced with as people living under late stage capitalism and with such war crimes just going on around us. It's hard to take some days, but Mammal's here to assure you that we are going to win and we are going to get through. And it is the workers who will get us there, not the billionaires. What's the lyric on Agree to Disagree? Guillotine the billionaires and on with the show. It's a little idea I have for a fake stage play. Just to be clear. The script I have.
So that's
when,
when,
never do
that's
that.
when Mammal gets really big, that'll be the stage show. And
that'd be cool. Like AC/DC's Big Bell for Hell's Bells. Like, it's very Australian. AC/DC, Australia, Mammal.
Well, like Alice Cooper, when he used to Alice Cooper when he used to chop his own head off.
Biting the heads off chickens, that sort of thing. Oh, that's Ozzy Osbourne. Sorry, that's Ozzy. Yeah. But yeah, we've got all that. And you know what? We've done the hats, Mammal. For those that see the Agree to Disagree clip, you'll see my horns. I've got a mirror ball helmet. But we've never done the biting the heads off live animals thing. And that's something we've got sitting in our arsenal just to shock. Like, if we need to go full Eminem, I don't know if I could do that. Like, I eat meat, but biting the head off looking it in the eyes, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. Well, I think the story is he thought it was rubber, didn't he? So he just picked it up and bit it, and then realized it wasn't.
Well, the story is I'm a hypocrite because I eat meat, but I want to get off a live pigeon. At least Alice Cooper probably eats meat and he's willing to do it, or Ozzy Osbourne or whatever it was. So yeah, in the end, I'm a hypocrite. Sorry, guys, but we're all hypocrites. We live under late stage capitalism. I'm really sorry.
Just going back to the history of Mammal. And this is a really kind of, this is just purely for me. I've always been fascinated by the arrangement of Nagasaki in Flames. It is such a quirky, it's kind of like, it's like two songs in one. It's just, that's so odd.
Probably my first, listening to your question or your reflection, I guess, on that track, and then thinking about what it means to me. I wasn't expecting you to say that, but I'm happy to reflect on it. Was that the lyric in the middle section that goes, tap my shell, I said, tap my shell, tap my shell. That bit. That's because I was at the zoo with my son, and there was this, a tortoise. And it was like a low fence cage, and my son was tapping, and I said, don't tap. It doesn't need to be bothered by you. It's been around for 140 years or whatever. And he was 2, my son. He was just being curious. It was a really lovely moment, and I remembered it. And so I put that on. That's one thing I remember. My son Griffin. Shout out to my son Griffin if he's watching this. I love you, Griff. G-Force. Let's go. He's 14, champion, good basketballer. Let's go. Yeah. So, then the other thing was that Forrester, who mixed and mastered the Penny Drop, because Jimmy produced it, but Forrester produced and mixed and mastered those tracks, both Slaves and Nagasaki, because Slaves and Nagasaki were the same thing. So
yeah,
I think it was a good team. Like Forrester was, but we were all very in much a different place, everyone was in a different place, because Forrester was, in Full Scale Deflection, then he left. Then he produced Carnival's Themata after he left Full Scale Deflection. We became Full Scale. Then he came to America and did the vocal production on Full Scale's debut. So we're always connected. And then we sort of kept drifting, and everyone kept building and going to Europe or going to the UK or whatever the fuck was happening. And so it's all been a bit of a blur the last 20 years for the Australian prog scene. Yeah. And Forry's just been there the whole time.
And that's kind of weird. The fact that you mentioned that, like, he produced that EP and then was involved in the new album.
Well, it wasn't an EP, that was a double A. It was a double A side.
Oh yeah, it was the single, yeah.
It was Slaves and Nagasaki, double A side. Jimmy Marudis did the Mammal EP with the Rhinos. That's the same guy that produced the Penny Drop. So Forrester, but Jimmy also mixed the EP. So what we did was we got the EP and the single, and
Yeah.
We Voltron the fuck out of the production team. And I think the results are gold. You're welcome. You're fucking welcome.
And honestly, you know, anybody who's like who's heard the penny drop and goes into the Mammal back catalog is not going to be disappointed, because it's so strong. There is not one release that you've put out that I don't think is just like, you know, you established a level early doors, and you have released nothing below that level, and it's a pretty high bar as well.
Yeah,
And
thank
everything that
you for
you've
that.
put
That's
out,
awesome. I thought Dead was a really good one that we just dropped in there as a single. You know, like
yeah,
I tend to agree. Like it's a band that's consistently performs at a high standard, and obviously I can't control all of that. So what I can do is take control of my part as a vocalist and as a lyricist, or you know, whatever I need to do on the day. But you know, it has always been a band that's delivered, and I'm stoked. That's awesome feedback, and Mammal takes that compliment with an open heart. And thank you so much for saying that, because yeah, we want to, you know, you worry sometimes. You want to maintain the standard, but as
yeah.
an artist, you constantly second guess yourself. That's part of the job. Otherwise, you wouldn't be good.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, and also, as you were saying, when you're an independent artist and you know, there is no like official third party to be able to bounce stuff off, even if they sometimes interfere as well. It does make
Even
it
if they
kind of
sometimes
like,
pay you lots of money to fund it,
well, yeah, there is,
which
yeah,
gives them some kind of contractual right to kind of interfere. Like if I gave
yeah,
you $1,000 to make a video, I'd be like
yeah.
calling you on, how's the video going? You know?
Yeah. No, I'm exactly the same. I mean, I signed to a label back in the day, and they were absolutely wonderful. You know, we got our masters
Yeah,
back after 10 years. Like, you know,
that's good.
not all labels are cunts, basically. That's what we're saying.
No,
But
not like cops.
oh, nice, nice. For listeners, I'm seeing an egg
All
covering.
cats are beautiful.
Cats, yes, all cats are beautiful, right? Okay,
All
yeah,
cats are
that's definitely
beautiful,
what that
man.
means.
Yeah, it keeps the heat down because they warm your lap. It's good.
Yeah, we don't have a real problem with heat over here. Um,
Yeah, no, neither do I over here. Yeah, like I said, I'm a lawyer, so I work with um yeah, I've sort of changed because COVID. I went back and did my law degree, so that was
yeah,
something that happened during COVID. So, but yeah, I've never worked as closely with the police as I have as a lawyer. So it's been an interesting journey coming to terms with that, but it is important. But also, yeah, I mean, my history's there to see for anyone that goes back. Um, yeah, just supporting, you know, my old school committee from Musicians Against Police Violence, and obviously calling for an immediate ceasefire and withdrawal in Gaza, and you know, also just calling for more healthcare, mental and physical healthcare funding, mental, dental, whatever you need.
yeah,
Tax the billionaires, build schools, build hospitals, get
yeah.
people into those schools, get people into those hospitals, get people into houses that we build, and just get on with the job. We all know what the job is. They're taking the piss. I mean, what's that guy's name who you've got at the moment as your prime minister? You just a fucking
Rishi
wanker.
Sunak.
Yeah, who the fuck is that guy? He looks to me. I've only seen like him for like 10 minutes aggregate. I've watched him for like 5 seconds and 30 seconds. And I reckon over the last 3 weeks, I've seen him for 10 minutes. But he strikes me as a massive fuckwit. Am I right?
They all are, mate. I mean, it's literally
It's a good point.
that
Tony
there's
Blair was no better. Tony Blair
there
was no
is
fucking
no
better.
choice.
Thatcher kickstarted this weird period. Yeah, we've got over here, we've got Albanese, we've got Hanson, we've got Howard, we've got Morrison, we've got Gillard, all these people that just constantly, Mammal stands against the austerity. We stand against the pushback from the far right for more traditional values around, you know, gay marriage, or more traditional values around single parents. We stand with single parents, we stand with gay people getting married, and we stand with Indigenous people wherever they are, and we stand with, you know, common working class British people that probably aren't earning enough to buy a house or whatever's going on. It's
Yeah,
failing. And
yeah,
it's your system. Our system is your system because you came over here and you guys gave us your system. So it is the same. So we can both agree, and we don't
yeah,
have to say, oh, you don't know what it's like, man. We both know exactly what it's like living under the fucking king.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And also the rise of populist politics does not help.
Nigel fucking Farage.
Uh, yeah, Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't be so vulgar with my mouth.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, look, doing a bit of a 180. Have you got some shows lined up? When are you back out?
We can't announce them yet. I got an
Oh,
email
right.
this week. I'll give you what I can. I'll give you what I can.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
we're an open book, Mammal. We tell no lie. So yeah, I got an email this week about some July, August dates that I can't confirm. We're going to be seeing a massive chunk of Australia during that period, but there's nothing confirmed for your side of the ditch or whatever it is. Your trip over
Yeah. The world.
stop off in Dubai, fly into London, kind of thing. So we don't know, but we've got this focus that we've got this Judith we're working with to make sure we're getting on the radio, make sure we're doing interviews. So I just hope that people see like me take it. What time is it? It's 7:03 p.m. on Wednesday, the 17th of April for me, and you're in the morning, so you're in the AM, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, to everyone who's watching this, if you made it this far with my ramblings, if you fucking made it this far, because I don't know how you did, Harold. Right. But if you made it this far, then we're trying to spread the word about Mammal's new album, The Penny Drop, because it is fucking awesome. Cade Turner's bass performance on the album is punchy. It's masterful. Zane Rosanowski wrote a lot of the structures on the album, so he's like one of the main songwriters, and just the power he brings, this metal, between metal, funk, and rock. Pete Williamson again on the lead guitars. I'm Ezekiel Rocks. My vocals are on the album. You can listen to it, but go and do yourself a favor. I really want to push it. That's why you're watching this. So I can't thank you enough. I do have to go though.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Look,
Did we get everything in? Did we get everything in?
definitely got the album covered. Can I play Agree to Disagree on the
Of
show?
course. Of course.
Brilliant. Okay, cool.
Play it.
I will do exactly that.
Play it. Play two. Play two.
Okay, I'll play one on the way in and one on the way out.
That's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of relationships we're trying to build.
Cool, man. Cool.
Thank you so much, man. It's been an awesome chat. Off the record, yeah.
So that was our little bit of off the record. Zeke, I want to thank you because I want to thank you for the music. I want to thank you and all the guys.
Can I just say, I want to thank you for being a professional journalist and going off the record. A lot of people may not know that there is a code of ethics with journalism, and there is a code of ethics with who's being sought out by the journalists. So it's very ethical to say, yes, we'll talk off the record. It gives you more information to come into this next part with that we won't reveal. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for that.
No problem. My absolute pleasure. And look, thank you and the guys for the music over the years. Thank you for a fucking great new album. Everybody should go out and listen to it. They've already heard one song. They're going to hear another one after this. And thank you, because I've watched the DVDs, I've seen the shows, I've seen you live, and I've never had a chance to really just thank you, man. And I've always appreciated the fact that the other side of the world, it's the hardest fucking thing in the world to be in a band in Australia, where, and this is what fucking winds me up, when people say we put on our tour, we put dates out to play the UK, and they're like, oh, we're playing Liverpool, and it's like, oh, are you playing Manchester? It's 45 minutes on the fucking train. Yeah, you guys play.
It's definitely a thing in the UK where, like, we'll drive 4 hours to see a gig, or we'll drive 10 hours to play one. And but that's okay. I mean, that's culture. I like the way that you all sound different. Australians tend to sound the same. So we'll go with that. You guys maintain your accents, stay in these little more tribal elements. We want to get to Ireland.
But it's so difficult for you guys, like I said, playing 10 shows, you're doing thousands of miles. We can do 10 shows in hundreds of miles, and it's really not a big deal.
But the point is, the punters should get on the train and come and see us.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a 3-hour train ride.
I look forward to seeing you guys over here. I really do. Thank you so much. Good luck with the new album, and when you come to London, I'll say hello.
I'm sorry for talking over you. I'm sorry, it's late over here.
I do it all the time, mate. Don't worry.
Great talking to you. See you, Howard.
And you, man. See you later.
See you, mate.
Well, that was cool. And as mentioned in the interview, there will be 2 songs. Yeah, that's right. So you might want to turn your little your volume dial down a little bit, because the tunes are coming back in. And this is Agree to Disagree.
What you gonna do when they come for you? Where you gonna turn? Once you let them do it to your neighbors like a dog. Nothing left to say, too late to be brave. Thinking on the boots, get organized and don't like the way that it's going. Real movements don't let the field fair. Fuck that, rhythm and soul. See you on the streets with every sister and bro. Fight back, get in the know. Setting up the guillotine and on with the show. White is black and black is white. White is black and black is white. What you gonna do? You're gonna propagate the lie. Bring 'em to the sky. Get a little high. Sit around a bitch and maybe have another win. Trace that minge, cremated by a singe. Get a golden star upon your whole world. Don't like the way that it's going. Real movements don't let the field fail. Fuck that, rhythm and soul. See you on the streets with every sister and bro. Fight back, get in the know. Guillotine the billionaires and on with the show. White is black and black is white. White is black and black is white. What you gonna do? Let's rip it up again, like Gary Foley. Let's rip it up again, like Dr. Luther King. Celebrated like a lottery down in Winnipeg. So what you gonna do when they come for you? Wait until they pin another medal on your chest. Spew, coincidence my tail seems a little rude. Never mind, cause I'll be there to shove it down your throat. Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree.
And there you have it, folks. That is the end of the episode. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Really enjoyed having Zeke on the show. Mammal really are a band that I know I was gushing a bit in the interview, but as always, because I mean it. Really like that band. Really, really do. They just do something for me. Zeke is an incredible frontman, a brilliant vocalist. I can't recommend The Penny Drop highly enough. There really is some moments on that are just absolutely beautiful. I mean, I've played you two really sort of up-tempo songs, but there is some great stuff on it. If you are even considering thinking about checking Mammal out, please do, because they are such a band. They really are. Australia's best kept musical secret, and I just wishing it wasn't as much of a secret. They are one of those bands that just deserve to be absolutely massive. And speaking of absolutely massive, this podcast goes from strength to strength, guys. It really does. And it's because of the support. So please do share, like, subscribe, all that usual bollocks. But also, can somebody do some reviews, please? There hasn't been a review on, like, this podcast for fucking years. I think it's like 2022 or something, the last one. So please, if you get a chance, do that for me, would you? Cool. And I'll be back in 2 weeks with yet more awesome bollocks for you. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time. Bye.